So that the demon of the Manchester City game to me looms over this a little bit because
Hmm.
last season there were periods where Real Madrid dealt with the press really well, and then Manchester City just obliterated them with it, and they had no. It was just weird to watch what happened against Manchester City because, in a way, it was just inexplicable to explain what happened. Like, what happened that all of a sudden they just seemed so incapable of passing out of the back. I mean, obviously, a lot of that will have to do with the off-ball movement and where people are dragging this player and that player, and what Cruz and Modric are doing, but it just felt oddly. It was just odd that Real Madrid were so ill prepared for it, and that to me looms over this a little bit. Like they can't wait until the second leg to figure that out. I think they need to be prepared for it in the first leg. And you want to go back 2 years, which was even more traumatizing because it was just so bad and humiliating. Was the Ajax thing where in the first leg from minute 1 to 90, it was just relentless. Ajax were having outer body experiences of I don't know where they were getting the energy from to actually press for a full 90 almost. And Real Madrid gave the ball away. I just stopped taking notes after a while because it was the first minute, second minute, third minute, fourth minute. I was like, I didn't know which one to even choose from my column. It was just a whole game of Real Madrid giving the ball away, dealing with pressure. And so that looms over this a little bit to me. And without Ramos to organize it, who was also missing against Ajax and City in both those Champions League exit second legs, that looms over this a little bit. There's some demons that I feel like, Jose, there are some demons that need to be fought mentally here to get past this. But I also did want to ask you, what do you think is the blueprint to stop somebody like Josep Ilicic? I remember looking at the numbers about a month ago, and it was basically Messi and then him in terms of just chances created and their ability to just find open players, pull off key passes. I don't know where he ranks now in the metrics, but the point is that he's just freaking good offensively. He sucks in a bunch of defenders. He plays the right pass. There's also there are a few instances that I've watched him play. As great as he is and as fun he is to watch, if you get there quickly and you throw multiple bodies at him, you can actually force him into really bad passes. So do you think there's a way that Real Madrid should play him to limit his threat?
Yeah, so Ilicic is an interesting guy, really. So this season, well, let's just say that last season his output was basically Messi-esque. Like there, he was basically the most impactful attacking player in Europe last season. This season, it's a bit less so. He's also a bit more focused in kind of ball progression and more midfield play, mostly because Papu Gomez is now not with the team. So a lot of that a lot of that duties of moving the ball from deep, Ilicic is doing them more often. So he's had less impact when it comes to scoring this season. But I would still say he's the most impactful attacking player for Atalanta. And again, he's interesting because he's a good dribbler, but it's also like a super big guy. He has kind of this. He's not super fast nor has a super big acceleration, but he has like this really nice like first step. It's a huge first step because he has long legs that kind of makes him a good dribbler. How do you stop a guy like this? Generally, the thing about stopping him or Atalanta is that this team is so flexible that even if you stop one player, it always feels that they figure out a way to attack you elsewhere. So if you stop Ilicic, then that will probably create spaces that say the wing back will know how to exploit, which is kind of the scary thing. So one will pay the price of Ilicic pulling players to him. That being said, it is true that he's also not. I would say that the main thing with Atalanta players is that they are very intelligent. They are helped a lot by their system, but technically, like on a technical level, they're not monsters. They're not. I don't know, Kroos, Modric, Neymar. You name the best in the world. They're not that kind of level technically. So usually, if for example, closing down the spaces for them does make life a bit more difficult. They usually know how to deal with that now because the players move intelligently to break deep blocks. But But on a technical level, they will struggle more dealing with a deep block and with more closed spaces.
I do also wonder, like, if Gasperini will throw like something, um, maybe a tactical wrinkle or a curveball here and that. Like against Milan, for example, Ilicic played this almost central role where he just shows up in zone 14 over and over again, and they didn't really know how to track him because he was all over the place. He was roaming. And in that game, he had 7 shots. He had 3 key passes. He completed dribbles. He was fouled a bunch of times. And it opened up a lot of space for Zapata because Ilicic would drag players around for him. I also, like you mentioned something really key here. Like there's Ilicic and then there's other really good players that Ilicic, like if you take Ilicic out of the game, that could create opportunities for other people. And watching them play, initially I thought maybe this is kind of a one-man show. Maybe you take him out, you limit a lot of their offensive impetus, which you do. But I've been impressed with Malinkovsky as a secondary creator. I've really been impressed with Muriel. And my relationship with Muriel, I mean, it's non-existent, but watching him with Sevilla, I always thought he was so hit or miss and very frustrating at times. He would score these incredible goals, but also miss easy chances or just do weird things. I've been really impressed what I've seen from him in Atalanta. And I'm curious to know, because you mentioned earlier in the show that in big games they tend to go with kind of like a 1-2 up top. There are often times when Muriel and Zapata don't play together. It's one of them or the other, and the other one comes off the bench. Against Napoli over the weekend, where they scored 4 goals and they won 4-2, they played together, and Muriel looked awesome, and Zapata also scored. They linked well together. Do you think it's more likely that they play together in a game like this?